Hello, hi, welcome. Here we are for another Tech Talk. Today, here with João Gonçalves and Ricardo Martins from ValleySpace. Our topic today is the challenges of improving hardware engineering with software. And we do not have a long time, so let me briefly introduce the speakers. Welcome. So João, firstly, João Gonçalves is the head of DevOps team overseeing the entire CI/CD pipeline. He has over 12 years of experience working in software development. He covers multiple areas from small mobile apps to enterprise level ERP and HR system, and across a wide range of technologies and languages. And then we have Ricardo Sacoto Martins, who completed his master's in electrical and computer engineering from the Faculty of Science and Technology at the Universidade Nova de Lisboa in 2017. And in 2021, he joined ValleySpace as a full stack developer and has since contributed mostly within the backend tribe. So welcome. Thank you for being here. How are you today?
Good. Well,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. So we are going to have some questions for both of you. And so without further ado, let's start with the first question for Ricardo. All right. So would you please tell us, so what is ValleySpace, how it was made, what technologies were used, and the current architecture that you have at ValleySpace, please?
Okay. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So ValleySpace is a German startup with the main focus to empower engineers. So in the tech world, we describe ourselves as GitHub for hardware. We here want you engineers to build your project that can be like a car, a rocket, or a plane, and try to improve on that project without you having to start from scratch when you decide to change same things like a motor, the main fuselage. And so that's what ValleySpace is. In terms of the technology that we want to use, or we will use on the backend, we use Python, which allows us to work with calculations because it has a lot of libraries regarding maths and sciences. And for our framework, we use Django, which uses MVT patterns and provides our security, and it makes our platform scalable. In terms of the front end, what we use are TypeScript and Angular, which allows us to separate the logic from the model and the view, and also automatic code splitting that allows it to be like faster to display the things. As you know, regarding the backend, Django makes our application a monolith, which makes easier to maintain and develop it, but also has some disadvantage in case of like the expression, like jack of all trades, but master of none.
Let me unmute myself before I start talking. Thank you, Ricardo. We have a next question to João. So now, how is the development process at the company? How do you work with CI and CD? Since you are the expert of this area, could you please explain a little bit about it?
Yeah, I'll try to give a good overview. So we'll start with what we call the most up left processes, which is it starts with the teams, right? Building ValleySpace would not be possible without our amazing developers. It starts with we follow the empowered product teams, meaning that the development teams are not given tasks to solve; they're given problems, and that allows them to exert their creativity in how they solve that problem. They're not given like a Jira backlog full of tasks where just mindlessly drone about solving tasks. They're given a problem, and this enables them to give their best work on solving those. It's also what engineers like to do, right? Solving problems. So it keeps them motivated. But then afterwards, it becomes a bit more normalized. So we follow a normal GitHub workflow with feature branches, epics, that then merge into develop, then go into a staging branch, and then they fall on to a master branch and on there for production. And to manage and to orchestrate all this pipeline, we rely mostly on GitHub Actions. So meaning all the unit tests, all the checks that need to be made pre-merge are done through GitHub Actions, and then all the building our Docker images, building other packages that we also use internally, and notifications for the QA team, for example, that a new package is ready for them to test. All that is run through GitHub Actions. After that, we follow to the QA process, which we call staging, where the application is fully tested. It's manually tested, but also automated tests through performance, code analysis, some penetration testing. So we try to do everything on this stage and prepare all the documentation before making a final release, which then goes into master, and that's where GitHub and we have ends. So we have a very clear separation of what is code and what is deployment. So this is the development phase. After it reaches master, it ends the development phase and it enters the deployment phase. And we deploy two paths. The AWS or on cloud is a deployment that we manage fully. And then we have the on-site, which is some customers that have some specifications that don't allow them to have data outside their premises or outside their own country, or with other certifications that need to have. So we deploy on-site. And this requires a bit more planning, a bit more preparation, as we don't manage this. So this whole path is what we, in DevOps, in my team, we call the road to production, and our motto is building the road to production. So meaning that we don't follow this road, it's for the developers, the QA team, but we build the tools that they use to follow this and make sure that ValleySpace goes from an idea, a problem to solve, to a final product in the hands of customers.
Very good. Just to remind, let me check here. I'm taking notes while you speak, and I'm checking our comment box. So anyone who's watching and has questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. So hi, hello. We've got hellos from several people. Do ask your questions as well. We will have some time in the end of the talk for those. Just in case. And then we will check the next question here. So let me go back. We have a question now I would like to ask to Ricardo. You ready, Ricardo? So given the challenges presented regarding the current approach, what are you exactly doing to solve it? Would you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah. So like I said before, one of the disadvantages of Django is having a monolith, and what that represents, it can be generalized and do a lot of things good, but it's not specialized in any given task. So what we're doing now, for example, with Valley Engine, is to have a separate service that is specialized in doing calculations, making them more faster and be like the main focus. So that service is specialized on that. So what it does on our platform is like the main service communicates to the Valley Engine. We will do all the calculations needed to we be able to build our car or our plane. And that can be very complex in terms of if you have many parts that are linked together. Like for example, you change a weight of a part that's linked to a bigger one. You have to do the calculations for every iteration, and that is what Valley Engine does good. It will do the calculations separately and does the calculation all through the end. So from the beginning where the user change until the end where the final result when you see like the big picture. And that's what you're trying to do. And it becomes complex because if one calculation fails in the middle, all the process is gone. So we have to make it robust to be reliable.
Very good. Always having trouble with unmuting myself. So what would you say are the opportunities that these changes can bring, Ricardo?
So this path of having different service allows them to specialize on their own unique settings. So we can have different services specialized on the task they are given instead of having a general thing. This improves the responsive of the platform and also the scalability that it offers, because the scalability is independent of each service. So each service can be scalable on its own, and if we need more, for example, more calculations, we can expand on that other than the other service. But we also have to take into account the latency in between the several services communicating, because you can have faster services, but if we lack on the latency, the whole process will slow down. Another idea that we're also exploring, and it seems very enthusiastic, is the modularity part. So what we want to do is like the word says, we want to have parts for the plane or the car that we want to build, and to be modular to be used on another ones. So that means like if you want, we built a version A of the car, and we want to do the next generation. Instead of starting the project from scratch or copying like the whole project, we want to be able to reuse that project and change several parts. Like we want to change the engine, we want to change the wheel, and that while reusing the other parts. And that's the main thing that we were enthusiastic about, and we want to improve on that.
Very good. João, now to you. So how do you make sure that, deploying ValleySpace, everything goes smoothly while dealing with all the constant changes? So how are you able to maintain everything going smoothly?
Yeah, so it is a big task, especially because we have a release cycle of 2 weeks, meaning that every 2 weeks there's a complete new version of ValleySpace available for our customers. Meaning that whole pipeline that I described earlier, all that brought to production, needs to be transversed in 2 weeks. And there's 2 weeks for development, 2 weeks for QA, and 2 weeks for releasing. So this is a bit of an uncommon one, especially when dealing with the on-site customers, right? Which have special environments, special requirements. Sometimes we don't have any remote access, so I usually joke that it's like solving or fixing an engine on a car through the tailpipe, meaning that we have complete no access, so we just rely on the customer's feedback. So this presents a challenge, and the way we solve it is mainly through automations, right? So all that pipeline that I described before, it's almost fully automated. It takes me, or now we have a new release manager on the team, it takes him at most 4 or 5 actions, meaning clicks or a bit of text to write, to go through from development into production, into deployment. The deployment itself in our cloud is fully automated, and here comes a bit of our secret weapon, which we very originally called Valley Admin, which it manages all our infrastructure on the cloud AWS, but not just the infrastructure, meaning the servers, the load balancers, the RDS instances, not just that, but also the deployment process. So it is informed through GitHub Actions that there's a new version, there's a new package available. It picks it up, it distributes through all the machines that it needs to do, creates the new connections, updates any libraries, any dependencies that it may have, either the virtual environment for Python or the OS that requires some other specification, or the engines, the web server that we use, anything like that. It updates everything and then starts moving the deployments, what we call the deployments, which is the server, the customers' applications, starts moving them from one version to the other and doing all the data migration that this requires. And this is the process. Just this deployment, it takes around 4 hours for around 400 deployments, meaning that it's not super fast, but every single one of them only has a downtime of approximately 20 seconds, maybe 30 if it's a large deployment. Meaning for each customer, the downtime is 20 seconds per week just to get a new version, and it's done on a Sunday night, automatically on a schedule, so it minimizes the impact. And this is how we deal with it, is just through leveraging automations and tools that we develop internally to do this. I used to say to my team, if you're doing anything twice, stop, automate it, put it on a script, put it on a repo so anybody else can use it. Just don't waste more time with it. Also, if you're not using anything for more than 1 year, drop it. Don't keep dead weight around, because that just generates legacy and technical debt. So yeah, those are a bit of our 2 secret weapons. We're now developing a third one, which is a Kubernetes deployment, but this is a bit of a tease because it's not ready yet. It's mostly meant for big enterprise customers that we are now getting, and then the requirements of scalability on them are a bit different from a startup client, for example. So we're developing a Kubernetes solution for those clients.
All right, very good. So just that way, so we have an idea, how many people are there in your team currently?
Currently, 4, but 2 joined in the last month. So for a long time, it was just two of us doing all
right.
this.
Okay, and that's even crazier, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it took a lot of preparation also, that we don't commit to anything without a lot of preparation, a lot of planning to make sure that it goes smoothly, so that our 2 pairs of hands are enough to maintain everything.
Very good. Well, thank you for that. And again, I was checking our chat. If there's any questions, please, now is the time to write them in there. We can ask João or Ricardo. If not, then we will close the session without questions. But before that, we still have some minutes. And I wanted to ask, so you're based in Lisbon. And so would you like to mention about the current operations in Lisbon, more or less how you are structured, or what you're looking for currently? Because, you know, ValleySpace is recruiting. So would Ricardo or João, or both of you, would you like to say something on those lines? Maybe.
I can talk a little bit about the recruitment, and then I'll leave the operations side a bit more for Ricardo. So we are recruiting. There are some openings. You can go to vallyspace.com and check them out. There are some technical ones. I think there's still a senior backend developer position. There's also one for DevOps. So if you liked what you heard, or if you thought it was wrong and you want to fix it, you're also welcome to the team. At ValleySpace, nothing is forever. So if you anything that can always be improved, everything. So if you want to improve and help maintain these crazy deadlines that we have every 2 weeks, please join us. There's also a few others for other areas, not of my expertise, like sales and customer success, I believe. But check them out. Also check the website, it's cool, and check our socials where we post regularly some updates on these.
And also, if you want to, you also can submit the spontaneous application if you're interested in to join the team and collaborating. So you can also try.
Very good. Any last tips? I don't know, any particular skills or even soft skills that maybe a candidate should have in mind while applying to a position at ValleySpace?
You should like having good food and cold drinks, because we do that regularly. We do a lot of team building around food. We spend a lot of time talking, not work related. So it's always a very big impact on people joining the team. Now, you guys talk a lot. Yeah, we spend a lot of time chit-chatting about other subjects. We have a big space group aficionados, which comes from the founders and the culture that they imbued within the team. So, and for that, we have to thank Mariana, which helps keep the culture up. But yeah, if you want to have nerdy talks about any subject, you fit right in with ValleySpace. We have a remote culture, a remote friendly, where, as you can see, I'm working from home today, but we also have a very cool office with a full fridge always, and there's snacks, there's drinks, so it's a very welcoming place to work.
Sounds good. Ricardo, do you have anything to add?
No, it's like João said, like you are free to choose to like come to the office or stay at home. It depends on your needs. You have we don't have a schedule to keep. You can put your own hours. And yeah, today I came to the office and take advantage of the fridge and have lunch with the guys. But yeah, you can do like the schedule as you want. It's a very friendly environment, and yeah, I think it's a good place to hang out as well. Like leave a bit of home sometime.
Good combo. Sounds good to me. And before we end, I would like to, before thanking you as well, to remind everybody that ValleySpace is going to be one of our exhibitor companies at Tech Jobs Fair Lisbon, taking place in the 29th of September. So this will be an in-person event, and you can maybe rub shoulders with Ricardo and João there, and maybe even Mariana, other people from the team of ValleySpace. Mariana just posted, as of this moment, we only have DevOps support engineer role open. Do check that website. She just posted it there in the comment section. Again, we are at our time now, so if there's no questions or any other comments, I would end our session now. So thank you. Obrigada. Ricardo and João. If there's anything you want to say to close the session, and then we see you in Lisbon. Now is the time. João or Ricardo?
Yeah, I'll see you in Lisbon.
Yeah.
Sorry, me personally, I'll be there
Yeah.
in September. So if you want to discuss a bit more, or want to have a bit more insight of what we discussed here, because it was just a short overview, please hit me up and we'll go grab a coffee and discuss anything that you would like.
Very good. Thank you, Ricardo and João. Again, obrigada. And yeah, we'll see you in Lisbon. Everybody who has got any questions, do shoot them maybe an email, check the website and everything. So thank you again. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And see you around.
Thank you for having us.
Take care.
Thank you for having us. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.